I am the vice chair of the board. The chair is no longer on the board, and we will be having election of officers soon, but until that point, I'm going to be acting in that capacity. So to begin with, let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our agenda tonight has a number of items. The first one is going to be the election of new officers. Then we will have old business, which is the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust, and new business, which is the Suzanne Ortman Trust. And then we will consider some proposed bylaw amendments for the operation of the planning board. I would like to have everyone just come by and state your name, and so everyone can see who you are.
Jim Legorski.
Lori Falcone. Heather Allen.
Dan Hovack.
Courtney Snellings.
Christine Donovan Hall.
Debbie Forrester.
And I'm Margaret McIntyre, the town planner.
Okay, we have enough people here to have a quorum for the meeting, which is 4. I understand that Heather has not yet been sworn in. At the end of each term, we get sworn in for another 3-year term. So she can participate, but she can't vote. So we will need to have, first of all, someone to replace her. But we also are going to need to have a 5th regular voting member of the board. So typically, is it typically the most recently appointed, or?
Yeah, or whoever's most familiar with it, whatever.
Yeah. So really, it's up to the 3 of you. I think Heather has been.
Well, she's been a meeting.
Debbie's
I'm a voting
regular.
member.
I'm sorry.
She's regular.
Yeah, she's a regular member.
1, 2, 3,
And you.
5.
These two.
No, but I mean, you're a regular member.
Debbie
You're
came
regular
on as a
member.
regular.
Okay.
Yep.
Here we go. Okay. Okay.
You've been
So
to more than me.
Yeah.
okay.
One or
So-
two more, yeah.
So I think Jim, you have the kind of seniority on that.
Yeah.
So you would act as the additional. Wait a minute. We need to. We have the.
Yes.
Because he's an associate, but he could step up to vote as a regular
Step up and
member.
vote in this
Yeah.
meeting.
Right.
I could do
Okay.
that.
And this is your opportunity to learn through fire how this
There
operates.
you go.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. We've done the introduction. The first item of business, since all of the terms for the last board expired on April 30th, so our first order of business is to elect officers for the coming year. They're 1-year terms. There's the chair, the vice chair, who acts in the absence of the chair, and the secretary. Typically, a secretary you would expect to be the person who's madly taking minutes, but since we have all of this recorded, that isn't necessary. The only thing that the bylaws generally suggest is that the secretary be someone who attends the site walks and then gives a report back on to the full board for the members who were not there about what occurred on that. And for that, we miss Lori. And the only other requirement of a secretary is that there are rare cases in which someone needs to certify the minutes for purposes of legal proceedings, and in that case, the secretary will simply sign those minutes
These are
as an.
each person, so just pass them down. Can we get the whole book?
Oh, we get the whole book?
Yeah, so.
Oh.
pass
There's
the
3
book.
for each person.
Yeah, 3 for each
Okay.
person.
Okay, so we just passed notes.
Oh, here I
As
got.
opposed to the other
Should I be doing?
Sorry.
Yes.
No.
The requirement of the bylaws is that all of these things have to be by,
Another one?
Oh, Dan, you need one still?
I probably should have one, yeah.
Are there
So
any?
let's
go.
go the chair first?
You have,
Okay.
you need-
All of this has to be done by way of secret ballot. Okay, so the first thing I would look for is a nomination for the position of chair.
Oh, I have a nomination.
No, it's secret ballot.
You have to
No, but
nominate.
you have to
on the-
nominate people first,
No.
and then you vote from among all the nominees.
Really?
It
Okay.
says the chair, vice chair, and secretary shall each be elected by secret ballot with no fewer than 3 affirmative votes.
Exactly, but
Right.
we have to know who got nominated before we can vote
Right,
between
yeah.
them all.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
all right,
Thanks, Judge Dan.
I still have a nomination.
okay.
That would be the vice chair, Dan Hobeck.
Okay. Is there support for that nomination?
I'll
Yeah, I'll
second it.
support it. yeah.
Okay. Other nominations? Hearing none. Go for a secret ballot. You have two choices. You either put down the name of the, my name, or else you put no. So,
There's no write-in.
Who's gonna tabulate?
or you can, yeah,
I
you
guess
can.
Margaret will have to do
Margaret will
that.
tabulate. Thank you, Margaret.
How long and hard about which paper was gonna be appropriate for
Oh,
Oh, you don't
okay.
want us to
Here you go.
Thank you.
So I was getting
I
all
guess if
secretive
there's-
and folding.
Well, I guess if there's only one option. Cool, it's Dan.
It took a long time.
So
Thank
you're
you.
willing,
Um,
so you're willing to serve.
Pardon?
I guess that's pretty,
Yeah,
I guess that's pretty important.
I am willing to serve. Okay, now we need person nominations for the vice chair to act at any time when the chair is not available.
But you're not on.
Oh, not on. Okay. Nomination for vice chair, I'm going to say Courtney Snellings. What do you think, Courtney?
Okay. I mean, I would, so long as I get training from this one.
Okay, other nominations? The nominations are closed. Please, again, vote for vice chair.
Margaret, oh, here you go, when she comes. Now this one's. Secretary.
Thank you.
One, all right, it's unanimous. Awesome.
The train has left the station. Okay, all right. Congratulations, Courtney.
Thank you, neighbor.
All right, the last is on nominations for the position of secretary.
This person has to be able to go to site. And I'm not able to do that, so that's so everybody knows.
Me either, yeah. Me either.
I don't go to all of
Debbie,
them.
can you go to sidewalks regularly?
I should be able to, but I've never seen the notes that are taken at them, so I don't have anything to,
You mean for the sidewalks?
yeah.
Yeah. It's just generally
Yeah.
who was there and any particular observations we had. It's nothing terribly difficult.
Do you have anything that you could,
Yeah.
Lori, maybe you could,
yeah, that you could send?
yeah, Lori used to do it.
Yeah, Lori used to do it, so.
My name's Lori Rice, formerly on the planning board in Harpswell, visiting tonight. I was the secretary, so when you do the site walks, you just kind of note who from the planning board is there or from the town. Any neighbors or anybody, butters that are in the area, just try and catch their name. You can't always. And just kind of like, what are you doing? What do you see? Usually it's like 4 or 5 notes, and then I just put it into a nice, neat sentence and send it off to Margaret. So it's pretty simple.
Thank you, Lori.
Are you going to nominate her?
She's are you willing to do that?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, then I'm nominating Debbie Forrester for secretary.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. Please vote.
I don't know. Folding it.
Yours is the stickiest one,
Here's this.
and it is again unanimous.
Very good, congratulations.
Thank you, Debbie.
All right, I'm glad we only have to do this once a year. So let's go now to the first item of business, old business. This is item 260401, Harpswell Heritage Land Trust owner, and Flycatcher LLC is the applicant. Map 79, Lot 31, 0 Birch Island. This is the site plan review and consideration of an application for a new non-residential wharf in the Resource Protection District. Just to give a little bit of background so you have some idea what we're talking about. The lot contains approximately 43.4 acres or 1,866,148 square feet with 3,057 feet of water frontage. The lot is improved with a 204 square foot shed. The previous owner installed a seasonal ramp and float, which have since been removed from the property. And the owner has developed a trail system on the lot and operates the property as a nature preserve. This property is being reviewed for a change of use from residential to non-residential using the site plan review ordinance. In addition, the applicant proposes to install a fixed 6-foot by 20-foot wide pier in essentially the same location as the previous structure. A seasonal 12-foot by 24-foot float will be attached to the pier by a 4-foot by 50-foot seasonal ramp. The wharf will be reviewed under the shoreline zoning ordinance for a new wharf in the Resource Protection Zoning District. Portions of the lot are located in the shoreline residential, resource protection, and interior zoning districts. Institutional uses are allowed in the shoreline residential and interior zones, but not in areas zoned for resource protection. Non-commercial wharves are allowed in shoreline residential and resource protection. Non-intensive recreational uses not requiring structures such as hunting, fishing, and hiking are allowed in all zoning districts. The shed on the lot does not meet the 75-foot setback up the upland edge of the coastal wetland and is in the flood hazard area, but did not receive previously a flood permit. The applicants have agreed to move the shed to a conforming location outside of the flood hazard area. This will remove the, quote, institutional use from resource protection area and decrease the intensity of the use of the resource protection area on the lot. The application was first presented at the Planning Board's April 15, 2026 meeting. Following a discussion at the meeting, a site walk was scheduled on May 11. The site walk was held in conjunction with the Codes Office, who has to hold a site walk for new wharfs. The site walk was attended by the planner, both code officers, 4 members of the planning board, the applicant, property owner, and many abutters. Okay. Margaret, do you have anything to say before we let them describe the project?
I guess the only thing I have to say is we only added one piece of information from last meeting to this meeting, and that was a narrative from Matt from the Land Trust, kind of explaining the use of the lot a little bit clearer.
Yes.
And we did vote on the completeness of the application at the last meeting, so we get to skip that tonight.
Right. Yeah, typically what we do when an application comes in is we begin by making sure that the application is complete. And once it's complete, then we can move on to talk about the merits of the application. So, would you like to describe what's going on?
Sure. Good evening. I'm Kelly Waddle with Flycatcher, here on behalf of the applicant, Harpswell Heritage Land Trust. They are looking to construct a dock on Birch Island at the Helen and Walter Norton Preserve. And I don't want to get too repetitive, so I'll just do a brief summary. The project purpose is to construct a safe dock to provide visitors better and safe access to the island, and to include boat access. It will be 6 feet by 20 feet long pier, a 4-foot wide by 50-foot long seasonal ramp, and a 12 by 24-foot long seasonal float. As a result, the dock being partially below the highest astronomical tide, there will be approximately 1 square foot of direct impacts below that line, and impacts have been minimized as much as possible.
Okay, I seem to remember earlier on that you talked about one of the reasons why you wanted to improve it was to create access for more people, so that somebody who is in a wheelchair, for example, could use the site unable to get there in a kayak. Is that right?
Correct, yeah, it will be handicap accessible.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the board? Comments or questions from the public?
Hi, good evening. Thanks to staff and resident volunteers for being here and providing space for public comment. I'm Heather Merriman, a Harpswell resident. I'm an environmental engineer and licensed state of Maine site evaluator. While my professional background provides me with significant knowledge of ordinances and intersects with many of the environmental aspects of this submittal, I'm here tonight representing my thoughts as a town resident. Thanks for having this meeting and process for residents to share their thoughts.
Would you move the microphone a little bit?
You got it.
Good, thank you.
Is that improved?
That's
Yes, it
much
is,
better.
thank
Well,
you.
Short people, I guess. So I had a couple questions, hoping to get some feedback either from the applicant or from staff or the planning board. I had been curious when reading the site plan review submission information, when responding to a question about estimate the amount and type of daily traffic to be generated. The response had said that there'd be no change to the current visitation, but by hearing a little bit more and reading maybe perhaps what Matt had supplied, it sounds like the goal is to have more people visit and walk on this site. It did look like that was through partnering with Outdoor Access Solutions. So the goal was to work on that. Looking at this, my account is that the site includes access points to the water within resource protection areas, which our ordinances spell out a lot of ways in which we can and cannot have development or impact of those resources. In addition to the trails and crossings, of perennial streams, the short trail around the 43 acres is probably half a mile long. It almost goes around the edge of it. And much of the trail is probably within 25 feet of high tide. So not just within 250 feet within the resource protection, but even within the 75-foot boundary. Reading through the ordinances, it said there was hiking and hunting and other things, but it didn't say anything about camping and resource protection. So I was wondering if someone was able to speak to that, because that is a use that is encouraged under current ownership. So I guess my wonder is, there's been already improved access. There's 2 points on the property where you can access the property, both from Old Ford's Beach and also from a different north point where there's a set of stairs and a trail that take you down there. Generally, we define use of resource protection for primary use in a residential setting. So you're considering the impact that you would have from one home or one family on it, and you're giving a meandering trail to the water. So I guess one of my questions for this group is, what is the impact to the resource that's already occurring, and how might that be increased by providing dock access? Dock access definitely makes it a lot easier to carry and carry out material to camp. Sometimes the property is lightly used, and sometimes it's very heavily used with a lot of people camping on the point adjacent to where the former dock is and the new dock is proposed. On weekends, all of that is in resource protected areas. In fact, the majority of the park property is in resource protected areas, either because it's 250 feet from the water and in a coastal VE zone, or is already designated wetland areas, which is also considered resource protection. So I guess my question is where in the ordinance, because I guess my understanding, Margaret, is that this is going through site review because it was once residential and then is becoming non-residential or institutional. What is it actually becoming?
It's an institutional use in in the shoreline zoning ordinance, but the site plan review ordinance considers it to be like non-commercial, non-residential, I'm sorry. So it depends on where you're looking.
Okay, all right. So I guess my question was, given how our ordinance says a lot about what you can and can't do in resource protection, it's curious to me that we're looking to increase access. That seems like it would be providing much more treading on our resources than a single-family home would provide. So I guess my question is, how do we weigh that and consider that, or use our ordinances that are adopted to weigh that? And I think the project sounds very great in giving access to more people and different resources. We have beautiful coastline. But I'm just wondering if maybe there are other sites that are on upland lands that are not resource protected, where a project like this might be better suited and meet our ordinances. So my curiosity tonight is, how does this actually meet our ordinances for development in a resource protection zone? So just wanted to bring that forward. Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Would you like to answer a couple of the questions she had? She had a question about camping, I believe. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Matt Newberg, Harpswell Heritage Land Trust. I sort of wish Hildegard was here, who was the abutter to the south. I appreciate all of your concerns. So the question about camping, currently the site is on the Main Island Trail, so there is camping permitted. I guess I would leave it to you guys as to whether or not that is permitted in that spot. I actually don't know the answer to that, so would look to you guys. But I will say from the beginning of this process, I've had sort of a little bit of concern about this, like what is permitted under a residential use versus non. And the reason why I joke about Hildegard being here is if she were to describe to you all what that site looked like when it was a residential use, you would see very clearly that the impact of that land has decreased dramatically since the land trust purchased it. There used to be lots of outbuildings on that site. The trees were all cleared, and it was affected heavily by the previous owner. So, for me, it's a little bit interesting that, there's so much permission given to residential uses versus non in that way, because I think the impact, I would argue that the impact of a residential use in that space was dramatically higher than the current uses. In fact, Hildegard I was on the phone with her as an abutter, concerned abutter. We were talking through all this, and she described a very large camping party that arrived at that site that included both paddlecraft and motorcraft. And it was getting pretty rowdy, drinking, yada, yada, yada. She was concerned. She almost went over to sort of confront them. She wasn't sure she should do that. She waited till the next morning. She walked over and she said there wasn't a piece of trash, and it almost looked like no one had ever been there. So, it's anecdotal information, but most campers that use island properties are aware of leave no trace camping ethics. Not all of them, obviously. This will increase some day use, but again, the camping, I can't speak to whether that's permitted or not. And I guess I would leave that to you. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to address in what Heather said, but.
Are there any questions for Matt or comment from Margaret?
The shoreline zoning ordinance allows for individual private campsites in RP. There are standards for it. But campgrounds, not in RP, but there's a little footnote, and the footnote says, except when area is zoned for resource protection solely due to floodplain criteria, in which case a permit is required from the planning board. So I think that is fairly clear. That, and I wouldn't call it a campground, because I feel like a campground implies that there is, I don't know why this isn't. I think a campground implies that there is infrastructure to support camping. You know, whether it be a bathhouse or hookups or something. Yeah. But it does say that you can have a campground in RP as long as the reason it's RP is because it's in a flood area. So.
The other concern that was raised around the trail is that I know that most of the trail is not in resource protection zoning, but I don't know what the setback is. You said 25 feet. So again, I don't feel qualified to answer that either.
I thought one of the RP issues was that there supposedly is a wetland, which I'm not really sure where it is. It kind of looked like on that map that we had that the placement, there is something with little dots on it, which I'm assuming was supposed to be the wetland, but I didn't see a wetland that identified with what I would call a wetland when we walked around. So I was curious whether that made it resource protection purportedly because there was a wetland further away from the shoreline. I thought it was confusing.
Oh, a wetland that's within the shoreline zone can bump that area up into resource protection if it's of maybe 6 acres now.
No, it's not 6 acres for sure.
Well, let me tell you the answer really fast.
I mean, there was a field there, but
2 acres.
they're calling that a wetland, I'm wondering.
But also, it's not that wetland. So if you have a wetland, it says area. This kicks it into RP. Areas of 2 or more contiguous acres supporting wetland vegetation and hydric soils that are not part of a freshwater or coastal wetland and that are not surfacely connected to a water body during the period of maximum high water. So basically, I read that as like an independent wetland that's within the shoreline zone. But either way, the way that our zoning map reads, that wetland is surrounded by shoreline residential, which I think makes it really confusing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's inaccurate.
All right. What we are required now to do is to make findings of fact on 2 areas. One is conformance to site plan review standards, and the second one is compliance with shoreline zoning standards. The town planner has proposed findings of fact and given rationales for each of the items by way of a paper submitted on May 15, 2026. That and everything else related to this application is on the website, which is important for all of you to be able to see as well. So what we'll do is we'll go through the general issues, and if you have questions about any of those, raise them. Otherwise, what we'll do is we will take the planner's recommendations as in this document dated May 15 and incorporate them by reference. That way we don't have to vote on 21 different items as we go through here. So in terms of conformance with site plan review standards, I move that the planning board finds that the application of the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust meets the following approval standards of section 15 of the site plan review ordinance, based on the following findings that are incorporated into this motion by reference. To give you an idea what that is, 15.1 is dimensional requirements, 15.2 utilization of site, 15.3 adequacy of road system, 15.5 access, egress way, location and spacing, 15.6 internal vehicular circulation, 15.7 parking, 15.8 pedestrian circulation, 15.9 stormwater management, 15.10 erosion control, 15.11 water supply and groundwater protection, 15.12 subsurface waste disposal, 15.13 utilities and essential services, 15.14 natural features and buffering, 15.15 lighting, 15.16 water quality protection, 15.17 hazardous, special, and radioactive materials, 15.18 solid, special, and hazardous waste disposal, 15.19 historic and archaeological resources, 15.20 floodplain management, 15.21 technical and financial capacity, 15.22 additional, we don't have additional standards for the Mitchell Field Marine Business District. We can put that into Mitchell Field, that'd be a real trick.
Yeah.
So that is the motion. Is there support? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
There's something that's, I was looking, that's really not here, but I have been concerned about the camping, I have to say. But I don't see how that's covered. I mean, there's a chart here. I want to ask Margaret if this is appropriate. Is it okay for I mean, maybe the main island trails folks shouldn't be there. We did talk to some abutters who said that sometimes, not a lot, but sometimes they found piles of toilet paper, and we don't want to take the extra step here because I think we can figure that out. But I am concerned about the camping. Because if you don't have any facilities, how the heck are you going to camp? Just saying. Matt, I see you smiling over there. But that is something that, that is something as a practical person that I think we need to discuss. I can't see where it fits here, which is why I brought it up. So, who wants to answer me? Okay.
I think that what the land trust could do would probably be communicate that there's no facilities, that it is carry in, carry out. They could have the expectation to, because people are going to look up the site before they go there to even know that it exists.
Yep.
So could they communicate, you have to bring you guys have a poop bag word for it, I can't remember what it's called. Wag bags, thank you. People could be expected to bring their own wag bags, or I do think it's a valid question. I also think their procedure is probably really standardized throughout camping on main islands, which doesn't make it okay, but.
Well, I just think it's worth bringing up. We did talk about it at the site walk, and Ms. Merriman also brought it up, and it was something I was concerned with. I mean, I would like to see signage that would be part of our vote if we vote to approve this. I would like to see that as something that would be included, if the rest of you.
What are you
all
saying
thought.
you want included?
Signage that says there's no facilities, carry in, carry out, use whatever that thing was, and that can be purchased at, well, I wouldn't know where to get one, but, something that would make sure the property stays as nice as it can.
I I think the piece that I was thinking about, because really we're bound by what the ordinance says. You know, it's a review as our resident group and peers to say, what does it say? And I've used many a Main Island Trail location. The Goslings are one of my favorite places, which is a set of islands south of Birch Island. And camping is allowed. Some of those sites are not in resource protection. They might be in the shoreline zone, but they're upland of the flood zone. And so that whole peninsula where people camp is, designated in resource protection. And resource protection, I think it is, we are wondering what the reading of the ordinance is on camping in that zone. So I guess my question was, is the first step here the site review, because it seems like land use changed through ownership change, and there was no review that said that, yes, these new uses were acceptable under this non-residential use. So I guess the question even is, when you read about trail systems, you get one trail from like your property down to a water access, and there's already 2 water accesses on this property, and looking for a third. I don't think the land trust is proposing to remove the other 2 access points where there's a staircase and or the concrete steps up at Ford's Beach, or Ford's Beach. I don't think that's formally on. This was Ford property a long time ago. So I guess that was my question. How are we conforming to that, being mindful of all of this is occurring in a sensitive ecological area because we've zoned it resource protection. And the wetland space on that property is far in excess of 2 acres. And the other access point all fit within the VE flood zone too, also making the north side where access is also in resource protection. That's pretty clearly designated on our floodplain maps. So that's really my question, not about how we sign it or how we do other things with it, but does our ordinance say we should allow this? And it's the ordinance of today. Some things get grandfathered and other things don't. And when you change use, while Matt shared some historical information, quite frankly, what happened in the last round of ordinances that have been superseded and adopted have no bearing on what we choose to do today. So, just my thoughts on that.
Is it addressed?
Thank you. As I recall from the site visit, and correct me if I'm wrong, those other access points to the property are not ADA accessible. Is that correct? Oh, okay.
Well, the steps certainly wouldn't be, if it's by steps, right?
We're an issue, yeah.
So are there areas that are not in resource protection that could be designated as possible campground areas?
There are definitely areas on the lot that are not zoned resource protection.
I mean, maybe that's one way to take care of that issue, is designate an area.
Camping area.
Yeah, if you want to camp, you can't camp here, but you can camp there, and that would perhaps
But I do
solve issues with the RP.
For me, I was, knowing that to make the campground, they didn't have to remove any vegetation. The vegetation was removed by some prior owner. You can go through Google Earth images and see that. They're going to remove the shed from resource protection, so that's going to remove that intensity of a use. And the ordinance is clear that you can have campgrounds in RP if the only reason it's RP is because of the flood zone. When I first read this application.
that ordinance in the opposite way. You can't have it if it's in the flood zone.
Yeah, hold on one sec, let me double check. But I think, from when I first read it, I was also worried about this intensity of the use in resource protection. But we went out there probably before anybody's camped this year, but it really shows no sign of impact from previous years, and I was fairly surprised by that. It's not obvious that there's a campground. It's not obvious that camping has happened. It didn't seem like it didn't appear like there was any intensity of a use when we were there. So I thought that was kind of impactful.
But I think your point is it's not about what's happened in the past, it's about what could happen in the future.
More clearly, it's about what meets today's ordinance.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I don't think that it's totally in the purview of the planning board. The only thing that we can really look at is, we can look at the dock through the dock standards. And then the only thing the site plan review ordinance asks is if this project meets the dimensional standards of the shoreline zoning ordinance, but it doesn't ask if it meets all the ordinance standards. So I feel like that would be a little bit more in the codes office. Because it's not asking like, or is this use allowed? Is it conforming to everything in the ordinance? It's just saying does it meet the dimensional standards, and I think I would say that it does.
Do you want to go into, sorry, I know that Mary Ann from inside there keeps like, I can't.
I like Margaret's clarity to say, like, this is the piece of the pie that you need to look at with the dock application. I think, though, if this is a horse and a cart situation, like, the wharf would be the cart and the horse would be pulling it, but the horse has not been defined, so how can you review this piece if you don't know the first piece? So I guess that's what was confusing to me. Like, you haven't yet gone through rezoning or reclassifying this, I guess reclassification, is that a better term, this property? So how can you decide to approve or not approve a wharf until you've reclassified the property?
Yeah. So I read the ordinance as saying campgrounds are not approved in the shoreline zoning ordinance except when area is zoned for resource protection solely due to floodplain criteria, in which a case permit is required by the planning board.
Yeah. And there is a distinction between a change of use and a change of zoning, putting things from one zoning classification to another. Are there any other comments or questions on the motion before us? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Because we are on Zoom, we have to state our name and say.
But there's nobody there, right?
That doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
Okay.
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hobeck, aye.
Courtney Snellings, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. The next findings of fact have to do with the conformance with shoreline zoning standards. Section 15.3 of the shoreline zoning ordinance sets out standards for piers, docks, wharfs, and similar structures. The applicant has addressed the conformance of the proposals with the standards in the application. Based on that, I move that the planning board find that the application of the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust meets the approval standards of 16.3 based on the findings of the town planner that are incorporated in the motion by reference.
I'm
What
lost.
did I say?
You said 15.3.
You said 6.
It's on page 13.
Did I,
13.
did I get the wrong number?
Yeah, you said 16.3 instead of 15.3.
Yeah.
I've driven 1,100 miles in the last 2 days. I have to know my own name. Section 15.3, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Is there support for the motion? And then we will have discussion.
I'll support it. I'll
Okay.
second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. I'll call the question. Jim?
Yep. Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Holbeck, aye.
Courtney Snellings, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
That, motion passes 5-0. In light of the findings of fact and with consideration given to the supporting document in the record, I move that the planning board reach the following conclusions. And after I read the motion, if you have an amendment to make, if anyone has an amendment to make, we can do that, okay? Number one, this approval, planning board finds that the applicant, the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust, has met the standards of the Town of Harpswell Site Plan Review Ordinance and the Shoreline Zoning Ordinance. The planning board approves the application and site plan for a nature preserve with a fixed pier and seasonal ramp and float at 0 Birch Island, tax map 79, lot 31, with the following standard conditions of approval. One, this approval is not final until such time as final plan showing all conditions of approval and any waivers granted have been signed by the chair of the planning board. This approval is based on the approved plans and all submissions and information provided by the applicant at final approval, whether referenced in any findings or conditions of approval. Two, this approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposal and plans contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed to by the applicant. Any variation from the plans, proposals, and supporting documents except de minimis changes as determined by the town planner that do not affect approval standards is subject to the review and approval of the planning board prior to implementation. Three, the applicant shall obtain all necessary state and federal approvals before the applicant commences any land use activity pursuant to this site plan approval and shall comply with the requirements of those permits and approvals. Four, all work shall be completed in accordance with the best management practices for soil erosion and sedimentation control. Five, one copy of the notice of decision must be recorded by the applicant in the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds within 45 days of approval and the book and page number provided to the code enforcement officer. Failure by the applicant to record the notice of decision shall void the site plan approval, and that's according to site plan ordinance section 13.3.2. Six, the applicant will seek after the fact permitting for the shed. Seven, the unpermitted shed shall be moved to a location that conforms to Harpswell's shoreland zoning ordinance and floodplain management ordinance within 1 year of this approval. The applicant will present the revised site plan to the planner for approval before May 2026.
27. It should say 27, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, May.
Yeah, 1 year, 27.
Yeah, well, I got to write that down, 2027. Okay, that's the motion. Is there support? Second?
Seconded.
Okay, any discussion?
Okay, you're looking at me. You know that I'm never a good person at looking at a single slice of pie. I always look at the whole pie. But I don't know whether we have any right to demand that these folks put up signage. Although it would be nice, but I think you can talk. So, sorry, I tend to step out of my lane when something seems like it would be a good idea, so.
Matt Newberg again. I don't think you need to apologize. I appreciate people's concerns about these issues. There's no question they exist. And of course, the land trust is going to sign the property and increase signage. That was always part of our plan with this dock. So yes, we will absolutely do that, whether it's required of us or not.
I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about that last meeting too. And
Yeah.
signage and stuff.
Yeah.
It was,
Thank you.
but I do feel like waste disposal was one of the big topics of concern from the abutters at the last meeting.
Yes, it was, and so I guess that was my concern, although I guess technically it doesn't really fall
Yeah.
under this, but it seemed a good thing to bring up. I know that this is a concerned Harpswell citizen, but sometimes it helps just to say it publicly. So thank you.
So,
Do you want to add a condition of approval about the sign?
I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the discussion that we've already had pretty much recognizes that there are people who use trails regularly and who know the rules of carry in and carry out, and there are people who aren't familiar with them. So being reminded on site about what your responsibilities are. And I know that you have stewards that monitor your properties on a regular basis as well.
This would be in the minutes anyway, would it not, Margaret? Yeah,
Yeah,
so the,
wag bags, they're in the minutes.
yeah, the suggestions would be there, and I think that might be sufficient. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Any other questions? All right, I'll call the question.
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Holbeck, aye.
Courtney Snellings, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Okay, the application has been approved. I want to particularly take everybody who has been involved here. Not only those of us who went on the site walks, but your comments as well. All of us are really concerned with seeing to it that Harpswell is used efficiently, effectively, and understanding the nature of the place that we're at and protecting it to the extent possible. So, you know, our hope is that is exactly what will happen here.
I'd like to echo that. I thank you so much for participating, Heather. I just really appreciate it when people engage with the process, engage with the material. And I like it when other people read the ordinances, so I really, I love it.
You get very confused.
Yeah, but it's so helpful. I love, and we had so many people on the site visit, and we had people attend the last meeting, and I think it's been a really good process for this one.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we will let you know when I've signed the documents so that you can go and get them recorded.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you the only one that needs to?
Bye.
Are you the only one that needs to sign it?
We'll see you tomorrow.
I believe I'm the only one that needs to sign on that one.
Okay.
I never knew,
Bye.
I never
I never
understand
know.
it.
Okay, new business. This is item 26-05-01, Suzanne Ortman Trust, owner map 36, lots 136 and 136-2. This is a minor subdivision amendment, consideration of an application to remove the shared driveway from the Dansk Pines subdivision plan. Here's the background. Excuse me. The Dansk Pines subdivision, approved on October 19, 2022, consists of 3 lots totaling 12.23 acres. Each lot has road frontage on Bayview Road and shore frontage on Long Cove. The 2022 approved subdivision plan shows Lot 1, tax map 35, Lot 136, and Lot 2, tax map 35, Lot 136-2, with a shared driveway. The applicant proposes to erase the shared driveway on the plan, allowing the owners of lots 1 and 2 of the subdivision to have individual private driveways. The planner, town planner, provided a completeness review dated May 5, 2026, based on the application. Based on the documents and supporting evidence, the planning board could waive the following submission requirements from section 8.3 of subdivision ordinance, which is 8.3.2.21 drainage plan, since there is no change to the drainage as proposed, and 8.3.2.36, copy of the original signed plan, because that was provided by the town planner. So based on that, I move that the planning board finds that the submission requirements outlined in section 8.3.2.21 and 8.3.2.36 of the subdivision ordinance are not necessary to determine compliance with the approval standards, and therefore waives the identified submission requirements, and also finds that based on the granting of the identified waivers of the submission requirements, the application of Suzanne and Rick Ortman meets the requirements of section 8.3.2 of the subdivision ordinance for a minor subdivision, and is therefore determined to be a complete application. Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. Why is this being brought by Suzanne Marie Ortman, whose property,
I think
is this a good question or a bad
Yeah.
question, whose property is not impacted by this driveway?
I'll tell you, trying to figure out how to name this was a little difficult for me. So Rick and Suzanne Ortman own this lot.
Right.
They were the ones that created the subdivision. So they bought the 12-acre parcel, and then they subdivided it. So they're really kind of, they led the when the property owner wanted to get rid of the shared drive, or when the property owner wanted to have their own private driveway, there was kind of, they could come to us and get this amendment to take it off the plan. So the Ortmans made the application, pretty much, because it's their subdivision plan. So they're not the property owners, but they were the property developers.
Okay,
a
and
little
that's
confusing.
normal, that's not odd.
No, it's not how it usually goes. I mean, it's just a little bit unique because 2 of these lots are undeveloped.
Right, and there's
Yeah.
only that driveway,
Right.
there's no driveway associated with that lot.
I know. And one question that I wasn't able to answer is why did he propose this shared driveway in the first place? I think we can discuss that later, but,
Okay.
you know, what was the motivation? Because obviously he didn't show a driveway on his plan, but he showed a driveway on this guy's plan. I can speculate, but I don't know why.
Okay.
Okay.
That was
So
that was like a
Yeah.
before the start
So
kind of
there's a
question.
motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hobeck, aye.
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Okay, so there are some state standards that are not applicable to the application because there's such a limitation on what we're really discussing here. So I move that the planning board finds that the application of Suzanne Marine Ortman Revocable Trust to amend the Dansk Pine subdivision plan meets the following state standards since they were addressed in the 2022 approval and no changes are proposed. And those include pollution, sufficient water, municipal water supply, sewage disposal, municipal solid waste disposal, aesthetic, cultural, and natural values, conformity with local ordinances and plans, financial and technical capacity, surface waters, outstanding river segments, groundwater, flood area, fresh land, wetlands, farmland, river stream or brook, spaghetti lots prohibited, lake phosphorus concentration, impact on adjoining municipality, and land subject to liquidation harvesting. Okay, that's the
Second
motion.
it.
May I have support for that?
Yes, I second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hobeck, aye.
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Okay. Now we're getting to the stuff that is applicable to the application. I move that the planning board finds that the application of Suzanne Marine Ortman Revocable Trust to amend the Dansk Pine subdivision plan meets the following state standards based on the findings which are incorporated into this motion by reference. And that is section 4, yeah. And again, all of this is in the recommendation of the planner from May 15, 2026, which has been on the town's website as well. That's section 4, erosion, 5, traffic, 17, stormwater, and that is it for state standards. So there's a motion. Is there support?
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hobeck, aye.
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Now, we're getting close to the point where we'll be having this discussion on the kind of questions that we know are coming up, but we have to get through this stuff first. So we have local standards that are not applicable to the application. I move that the planning board finds that the following standards of section 9 are not applicable to the application of the Suzanne Marine Ortman Revocable Trust to amend the Dansk Pines subdivision plan. 9.4 lots, 9.5 land not suitable for development, 9.6 required improvements, 9.8 utilities, 9.9 construction in flood hazard areas, 9.10 impact on wetlands, 9.11 impact on groundwater, 9.13 offshore islands, 9.14 aesthetic, cultural, and natural values, 9.16 homeowners/landowners association, 9.17 community docks, 9.18 workforce housing, 19.19 spaghetti lots are prohibited, and 9.20 liquidation harvesting. Is there a second to that motion?
I second it. I'll say Christine, second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Okay, we're not going to be talking about the local standards that are applicable to the application. In this case, in order to get the motion, we're going to be making a motion to get it on the table, and once it has been moved and seconded, then we will have a discussion among us and listen to the applicant and to the abutters, all right? Just wanted to make sure you knew we weren't just kind of cranking this thing through. Well, we are, but appropriately. We're trying to follow the standards as best we can. So local standards that are applicable to the application. I move that the planning board finds that the application of the Suzanne Marine Ortman Revocable Trust to amend the Dansk Pines subdivision plan meets the approval standards of Section 9 of the Harpswell subdivision ordinance based on the findings which are incorporated, the findings of the town planner, which are incorporated into this motion by reference. That's 9.1 conformance, 9.2 municipal services, 9.3 preservation of landscape, 9.7 erosion and sedimentation control, 9.12 stormwater management, 9.15 traffic, and that is it. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All right. Margaret, would you like to open up the discussion here?
Yes, we received some input, which I will find, from an abutter that I'm happy to read once I find it. It's right. Do you want to give me your copy?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Oh, no, I found it. Whew. Sorry. Okay.
So many papers.
So this was an abutter who couldn't attend tonight. It says, "Dear planning board members, my wife and I are unable to make tonight's meeting due to her work and my hospital training as a volunteer EMT with the Orrs and Bailey Island Fire Department. Due to the concerns we raised in our May 6th email, we have decided to respectfully oppose the application. We are particularly concerned about the fact that stormwater runoff, spilled gasoline, or other contaminants could flow uninterrupted from the proposed driveway into our front yard water supply. We welcome our new neighbors, but ask that you deny their request and require them to use the already approved driveway site, which would present none of the problems we cited. If you decide to postpone the public meeting to a future date that we could plan for, we'd be happy to come and answer any questions. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Jeffrey Good and Diana Good Solis." And then there's a part 2. Dear Miss McIntyre and planning board members, my wife and I live at 63 Bayview Road, directly across from the proposed driveway in this application. While we are the property owners who would be mostly directly affected by this proposal, this is the first official notice we have had and need more information and time to decide if and how to provide feedback to the planning board as it considers this request. I'd note that in the application's list of abutters, we are not listed. Unfortunately, we are unable to make the site visit plan for 1 p.m. on May 11th. My wife works full-time and can't get the time off on short notice. I am a volunteer EMT with the OBIFD and have a clinical rotation at the hospital that afternoon as part of my training. We ask that you reschedule the site visit with more notice so that we can attend. We have a number of questions to address, including whether the driveway will create runoff that could pollute our water well located in our front yard, leave us subject to headlights shining in our windows, and create traffic hazards due to vehicles exiting driveways right across from one another. An issue of particular concern to us is we have a young family members as we have young family members who visit and may be playing in the driveway at times. To be clear, we're not sure if we oppose or support this application, but we need more information before we can make that decision. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Jeffrey Good and Diana Good Solis, 63 Baby Road.
So that was the same person who wrote two. Okay, I was a little
Yeah.
confused again. Two people studying EMT.
It's the same person.
Same person, okay.
And they were the same people who were present at the site.
Yep.
They didn't, though. They were kind of on the periphery, and then they left.
He had to go for training. I
Yeah.
talked to
That's
him.
right, okay.
Yeah,
Talked to
so he
Mr.
didn't
Good.
actually attend the site walk.
Okay.
He was there
I mean,
for
he's-
some of it.
He just stood in his driveway and then left. Anyways.
Okay, I mean, what you read is what he had
Right,
said, and
gotcha.
I told him if we couldn't come to please
Oh, good.
write us, because I thought we needed to hear his concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is anybody able to tell us a little bit about the site walk, since I wasn't able to attend?
It was confusing because there were a bunch of stakes in the ground, and it was not easy, at least for me, to figure out which ones referred to the double driveway, and there's a light pole that, there's a 10-foot barrier for light poles, and so that changed things along too. But it appeared that, I guess, one of the new driveways was going to be directly across from this gentleman's driveway. Is that correct, Margaret? I mean,
Yeah.
I
If you-
went
sorry
and
to
it was,
touch glasses.
I thought it was very
It's-
confusing.
So there's a pole here, and then on this plan, this is the 25-foot easement. So it's 50 feet wide, 25 on each person's
Where's
property.
the pole again? I'm sorry,
The
where's it?
pole is right here
Okay.
behind this.
So that would interfere with the shared driveway.
What, would the telephone pole?
Yeah.
No, because the whole point of having a 50-foot wide easement would be that you could use any portion of the 50-foot wide. That's the whole reason you make an easement bigger than the area that you're gonna use, is so you can have it meander or go around obstacles. So I don't think it would be an issue. But you can see this is his driveway, I think, right here on the plan.
Right.
So the reason there are so many stakes is because there was a stake showing the property line and then 25 feet on either side of the property line
Yeah,
for the easement.
I found it confusing.
Okay, there is a great deal of frontage on Bayview Road.
Yes.
I'm not sure quite,
190 feet or
yeah,
something for
like
someone, or
100 feet or
it was a
something
lot.
for each of those. Am I correct that all we're asking to do is to
Sorry.
just get rid of the common driveway, but not approve a driveway for the applicant?
I think so. I don't think that there are really any driveway standards in the subdivision ordinance. I don't know if anybody else, I don't know. I went through this, I went down the rabbit hole about driveways and roads. I just don't know what was the motivation of giving these guys a shared driveway, but I don't know why we approved it in the first place.
Okay.
I guess it's a question, like, why did we put it there? What was the value of having this shared driveway, and what are we losing by removing it?
It was interesting that Mr. Ponziani had a very strange way of, he said he saw no reason to oppose a shared driveway. And I was like, but they're not asking, the shared driveway's already there. I thought it was a very strange thing, but I would want to know where the new driveways would be, but there are no houses there.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason for the double there
Would you
was.
identify
I'm
yourself?
Tim from Code, sorry, Dan. When Mark was going through the subdivision things with Mr. Ortman, he just wanted to be able to use an excavator in one spot for his ease of installation if nobody bought the lots right away and he had to put in a driveway. And the question was asked, can I move them later? Yeah, you can, anybody, after they buy them, they can move them if they want, that's what all it was about. Where the orange paint marks were, which are across from the other driveway, the builder can talk to this more. But that's where, I guess, Ron Ponziani had put the marks. That represents a 12-foot driveway with 5-foot radiuses. That's why it looks so wide. That doesn't mean the driveway is that wide. And there's going to be a culvert under it to handle the water. But again, he can talk to that.
There are a lot of stakes, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah, and it was, just like we said, it's 195 from the other lot. It was the center one that represented the lot line, and the ones on each side represented the 25, correct?
Can I ask?
Sure.
Can you maybe just answer to the email that we got about, just because you seem very familiar with it, runoff into the driveway across the street? If there's a
Well,
culvert,
I
is
don't
that a
see how
concern
that
on your?
could happen, because when you're gonna bring down the new driveway, or any driveway, onto that road, put a culvert under it to handle the water, you're gonna have a crown in your driveway to handle the water, to make sure it ends up in your culvert and ditch. The road that you're approaching or teeing into has a crown in it. I know that they went out and measured it before this. So it's gonna be very hard for water to say, come down this driveway, go back up on the crown, and then go back down somebody else's driveway, which also goes uphill.
Okay,
So,
makes sense.
and it's right across from the driveway, not the house,
Right.
as far as,
Well, but there is no proposed driveway there, is there?
the driveway was just whatever.
The driveway could be anywhere on 195 feet.
No, well, I believe it's proposed where Ponziani put the paint marks. They were right across from the abutters or the person across the street's driveway,
Wait, so Mr.
garage.
Ponziani's marks were for what?
Just for the, I believe, for the 12-foot driveway and the radiuses of what they could be.
So what is there now is directly across from the goods?
The
Is that-
garage, yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, it appears
So
that
this
way.
would be what they would not want, what is currently there.
Well,
Does
it'd be
he-
better than going right into your living room, if that's what you mean.
Well, no.
Right next to it's the living room, yeah.
Right. But so it's actually the current situation that they seem to be having a problem with. If the stakes of the new shared driveway that we're been asked to get rid of is actually right across from Mr. Good's driveway, currently, right?
That appears to be right,
Okay.
right, correct,
And that's what he was objecting to.
right.
It's not across, the
Oh.
driveway is
They're
to the
proposed.
side of the shared driveway.
The proposed driveway will be directly across from the Goods house.
Right.
Not
There
the
wasn't a
easement.
proposed, I thought we'd already said that there was one that we had voted on that was a shared driveway.
That's where the
this.
3 stakes were,
Right.
right? I
That's
showed you
right
the
here.
3 stakes, and I measured the 23 feet.
Okay?
When I measured the 23 feet, was close, since I was going around that bush, it was the 25. That center stake was the lot line between the 2 lots.
Yeah, it's right
And the other 25 and 25 were
Okay.
the other 2
Move it.
marks.
Have one over here.
Yeah.
Where the shared one was at the time that the subdivision was approved.
Right.
Right. And now they don't want to have, the new owners don't want to have this long driveway from there to their house, so they want it shorter, is what they're proposing.
Although there's no house.
There's no house. There's got to put a driveway in first to get the stuff in, you bet.
Just to help you a little bit with the topography,
Jeez.
the 2 lots that share the driveway right now are on a bit of an incline towards the road. And then there's a ditch, and then there's the road, and then across from that, it continues to go down, and then I think fairly severely drops off in about like 120, 150 or 200 feet. isn't it?
Yeah, because the front of that whole lot's 195, correct.
So that whole area just slopes down, hits the road, slopes down again. And so I can understand the concern about somebody who is already lower than that existing lot, concerned about the fact that, that water runoff won't be contained on that side of the road.
But that's what the ditch is for.
Exactly.
Right, and the culverts, correct.
Right.
And the crown in the road that you're abutting up to, because it has a crown in it. So you'd be asking that water to go uphill before it went back downhill to go across.
Okay.
Does that mean, is that?
Yeah, no, that
does
makes sense. I was just trying to figure out where the one we currently approved is
Where it's at,
compared to this gentleman's driveway, because
Yeah.
that was his concern, which, you know, understandably, you know, if there's a driveway right across from someone else's, the light shining in and whatever, that made perfect sense to me. But I don't know that we have any ordinance.
Right, we don't have,
S-
And this is a single-family residence, correct?
right.
The person that wrote the letter?
No, I
Oh.
mean.
Either or. The new
Yeah,
or the
either, yeah,
old.
but there would be two.
So the only thing that can
right.
be built on this is a single-family residence.
Exactly.
Right.
Not like an entrance to an apartment complex.
Exactly, right.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. When they do come in for an approval, they come to codes and they say, here's our plan, what kind of requirements do you have for the driveway?
Keep the water on your own side on your land.
Okay,
There isn't really a good description of where to do it. So I always say, come in a ways from a lot line, handle the water on your own lot. Don't push water onto another lot.
okay.
That's about long and short of it.
All right, thank you. Okay. Any other comments or questions from the public?
Would you like me to provide any definition?
Well, please
Who are
do.
you?
He's a builder now.
The builder, okay.
My name is Rick Brown. I am the builder for the Wachowskis. I'm listed on the building application.
Okay.
I also built the Ortman's home. So the driveways that I put in are right there, so you can get a sense of what we do for work. I brought with me my excavation, Jake Swift, that's doing the excavation, so if you have any questions, you could ask him as well. But to clear up the confusion about the 3 stakes, we have 3 pins, and the center pin is a boundary pin, so it's very specific. So from that boundary pin, you come 25 feet to the next pin, and then you have a light pole, which
Right.
is approximately 4 feet. So the Wachowskis, they want to make it the least intrusive as possible for the neighbor. And so if we started the flare, which would be approximately 40 feet from the boundary pin, the flare of the driveway, that puts you to the north end of this gentleman's garage, which, by the way, is more than a foot in elevation.
Yeah.
So
It goes
it's,
right up.
so
It does go up.
if you build a driveway with a crown and you ditch the water, there's not going to be any more water that comes off that driveway than what comes off there right now. So, with a culvert, so it's just going to go the flow of Bayview Road.
Thank you.
So I don't know what else I could say.
That's very helpful, thank you.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was helpful. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the public? Any other comments or questions from the board? All right, it's been moved and second to find that the application meets the approval standards of Section 9 of the Harpswell subdivision ordinance. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Do we have to address the fact that the Goods wrote and wondered whether they would get any more opportunity to weigh in? Because in the letter, it did say, you know, we didn't get much notice and we weren't able to come. I'm just asking because that was something that, right, Margaret?
They got notified by me in the mail in the same manner that all the rest of the abutters got notified. And it'll be in the record, in the minutes. And then they also will have the right to appeal.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why they wrote the letter is that on the site walk, we said, if you are unable to attend,
Right.
please put your concerns in the letter.
Right.
So we do have that.
Right, I guess it would be useful for them to know that we had taken their concerns in terms of, well, the crowning, Tim, you explained that, which I thought was very helpful, but also that apparently the new proposed driveway is not directly across from their driveway. Am I right on that?
The new
Painted
proposed
those
driveway
pins.
is across from their driveway, but it's going into their garage, not the main house. So if you're coming down to face it, it's not, it does face their driveway. Just wanna-
Okay.
Okay,
I don't like it,
okay.
but that's, I'm a whole pie person.
Okay, well, we're,
Not the
okay,
piece,
well, we're
so-
voting on
That's the
whether
risk you
they've
take
met
when you
the,
have undeveloped land across from you
Yeah,
that was not developed, and you bought the home, and that's the risk you take. You know what I mean? I think of those things when I buy homes. I'm like, is this ever gonna be developed? And if it is, what potential impact could it have? So I'm sure they would love to have nobody across the street from them.
They could have bought the lot.
Yeah, so.
or not.
Unfortunately.
if there's nothing further, call the question. Jim?
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
You don't have to.
I recuse myself.
All right.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
The motion is adopted 4-0 with one recusal. So the motion passes.
Okay.
Okay, conclusions of law. I move that in light of these facts, with consideration given to the supporting documentation in the record, that the planning board reaches the following conclusions. The planning board finds that the application of Suzanne Marine Ortman Revocable Trust has met the standards of the Town of Harpswell subdivision ordinance. The planning board approves the application to allow lots 1 and 2 to have individual private driveways by removing a shared driveway from the Dansk Pines subdivision plan, subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, this approval is not final until such time as the final plan has been signed by the planning board. 2, this approval is based on the plan prepared by Jeremiah Raitt of Little River Land Surveying, Inc., dated April 15, 2026, and on all submissions and information provided by the applicant at final approval, whether referenced in any findings or conditions of approval. This approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposal and plan contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed to by the applicant. Any variation from the plan, proposals, and supporting documents except de minimis changes as determined by the town planner that do not affect approval standards is subject to the review and approval of the planning board prior to implementation. 4, the applicant shall comply with all state and federal rules and regulations that apply to the amended plan. As required, 6, as required by section 8.10 of the subdivision ordinance, the applicant shall submit the signed subdivision plan to the Cumberland County Register of Deeds within 90 days of planning board approval. The plan shall either contain all the conditions of approval, or the applicant shall record a separate document that contains all the conditions of approval under the same terms and provisions of those applying to the plan. That is the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right.
Jim Babarski, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
I suppose since I recused myself from the first one, I have to do the same thing here, correct?
It would be consistent, yeah.
Recuse. Thank you.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
The motion is carried 4-0 with one recusal. Okay.
That's why I
So-
study law.
The amendment has been approved, but we need 3 big copies of the plan to sign. And then you'll take the plan and 1 copy of the notice of decision to the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds and get it recorded.
And that will be
Okay.
signed, that is signed by all of us.
Yeah. No, well, you're representing the applicant, so I don't know who else to tell to do it.
Do I
but-
sign it? I said, do I sign it?
So you need 3 plans. They have to have a wet signature
Mr.
from
Lawyer.
the surveyor, so you have to get 3 plans from the surveyor.
Let me know.
Then we'll sign it all, and then we'll send you to the registry.
Do I sign it?
You,
Do I recuse
the
myself? I
orphans,
was asking
the
Dan.
owners, whoever. Somebody has to do it.
He's giving us a plan that doesn't include the driveway.
Didn't have any, oh, you could have
Yeah.
gotten someone to step.
Okay.
It was still majority.
This is why I don't understand that Ortman put it in.
Oh,
Because shouldn't they do it? If
Yes.
they requested it?
yes. Well, I mean,
They
doesn't
should.
matter.
I have no idea.
Somebody has to pay, I'm not doing it, somebody has to pay the surveyor to give us 3.
They do,
Yeah.
those people do. The
I mean,
ordinance.
I don't care who does it, but somebody's gotta go to
Yeah.
Little River,
I
get
just-
3 copies of the plan with a wet signature for us to sign. And then they being the group of them, somebody will take it to the registry
Okay.
within 90 days.
They
Just
ask for
asking.
it, they get it. They get everything else. They ask, they get everything else after.
They have to do the work.
Okay, that takes care of the new business. We have other business, consideration of proposed bylaw amendments to the planning board,
Okay.
which have been distributed.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Would you,
So the point of the bylaws, one, Amy was the chair, so I wanted to make sure Board of Selectmen turned into Select Board, because that was,
That's what they call it now.
yeah,
Yep.
and that was something that was very an Amy thing to change. I added the FOA training
Yep.
on there. I added a summary of site visits in for the secretary, otherwise the secretary has no real role at all.
Where are you, Margaret?
On the page 2.
Thank you. Oh, I
And,
see it, okay.
There's stuff at the end.
And then mostly the big goal of this was to remove the references to advertising in the Times Record because it costs the town a lot of money and we don't get a lot of returns. I've never, ever heard somebody say, oh, I read about it in the paper.
But, only when required by the state.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there still will be, so there's still advertising, like for a subdivision, you have to advertise twice in a paper, it's gotta be second class of general circulation within the town. So we still will have to spend our money doing that, but any other references to advertising in the Times Record would be cool. And then we can allow, I thought maybe the select board would want like just a standing ad in the anchor. I think that would be such a much better use of our resources to increase engagement with the planning board.
yeah.
So what would the ad be?
This is what it's going to be each month.
No, so that's the problem is we don't meet, the deadline is usually like the 15th of the month.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
our
yeah.
application deadline, they don't line up.
Yeah.
I mean, you were thinking about putting the agenda on an ad or just
No, I was
planning
thinking
board
more, you
meeting?
could just have like an ad that says, see the planning board agenda here. Or check out the monthly planning board agenda.
You could give a link,
QR code or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
could give a link, right?
Yeah.
And that would work.
Mhm.
Same thing every time.
Or check out the
Yep.
Town of
Yeah.
Harpswell website for
Yep.
the planning
Yeah.
board agenda. And that would reach so many more people than the current advertising
Yeah.
program
Yep.
does.
Okay.
Good job, town
I like
planner.
it.
All right.
Yes.
We gotta vote on that.
Yeah,
Yep.
And also, do we vote?
Good job, town planner. Do we have to vote on it?
Yeah, you guys have to vote on it. Well, wait,
we
that's
will,
probably.
we
in here.
will all vote on it, whether we're.
Sounds like there's a vote coming up. Those
Yeah.
who are
Say yes.
packing up your stuff.
Amendments.
Well, I don't,
It
I
says,
just read it.
planning board, including associate members authorized to vote, shall have the power to amend these bylaws by 4 affirmative vote at a planning board meeting, provided that the planning board members have received written notice of potential bylaw amendments at least 7 days prior to scheduled consideration of proposed amendments.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay, all right. Based on the excellent description by Margaret, I move that the planning board adopt the amended bylaws dated what?
September 8th, 2025. Oh, no, yeah, September 8th,
Yes, that's what it
2025.
says.
How long we've been,
Is that the date of, that you prepared that?
Yeah.
Okay,
A long time ago.
all right. Is there support?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Oh, we can do this now?
Yeah, this isn't.
Well, there's a phone.
Okay.
Okay.
It is unanimous. We don't have to do a roll call on a
but-
change of adoption of that.
When,
Yeah.
I was, about the required things, when Debbie and I went to the shoreline zoning training, the guy said we were all going to be required to do that. Didn't
Training?
he? Yes.
So
The
this-
planning board.
When the,
Okay,
when,
can we finish with the bylaws thing a minute?
Well, I wondered whether the bylaws needed to be
Oh.
amended because I heard something else at the training that Debbie and I went to. And this only says the freedom of access on this. Just saying, because we can amend it again.
Yeah, we can do
so,
it.
LD 1829 that was passed in 2025 includes a provision that says all planning board members need training, but I don't think that there's been a definition of what that training is. It was suggested that that training, that might just be putting in law the MMA training that already, like, there already is planning board trainings.
Right.
So it wasn't clear that they want to add more trainings, or they just want to make it required that you go to the trainings. Debbie Forrester just did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The planning board training. No, the
Oh,
planning
yeah, I
board.
did the
yeah.
planning board training.
No,
That
it
was
it
Zoom.
sounded
Right,
like,
and that's more like procedure and
Yeah.
law and stuff.
it sounded
The
like they
forward stuff,
expected all
I
of
just
us to
did
do
the-
it.
I
That's
read
why I'm
the-
saying.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so sorry to,
So,
Throw
but
my
we always
usual-
can amend it again.
All right, one other thing that since we have amended those bylaws, the bylaws specify the order in which the agenda operates as well. So I think we may need to put some of the things like the approval of the minutes and all that further up on the agenda.
Technically, yes.
Okay, great. All right,
cool.
thank you very much. I was unable to find the February 18 minutes. The only minutes that I see on the website are from January.
Well, I don't ever put them on the website. I put them in an email to you.
Okay.
Did I email them to you?
I don't
I don't
recall.
remember.
I sat here and wondered if I had done it, but I just made an
I
assumption
don't
that I
remember
had.
it.
I don't know, if I opened it on my phone, it's
Well, we
gone.
have, yeah, because we have minutes from a couple of other meetings as well, don't we? Like March and April?
Oh, but Margaret might not have
Yeah, those aren't done
completed
yet.
those yet. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking at that based on one other thing that we have to have under announcements here, but,
Maybe we gotta carry that on or to the next month.
yeah, so, all right, so we will defer consideration of minutes until the next meeting,
Okay.
which Margaret will send out.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay, announcements.
I circulated a Board of Appeals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice of decision. I don't know why that state law says that it has to be distributed to the municipal officers, the planning board, the applicant, within 7 days. So I do, if anybody wants a copy, I have a revised one. I don't know if anybody-
Revised?
Yeah, revised. You want it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I did bring it.
So they just go to the Board of Appeals now, it's not, or they've already gone?
They already went, they were appealing a code office decision.
Yeah, that was, that
Oh,
was,
so this wasn't
It's a
the
different one, yeah.
Merriman one, this was a different one?
Right.
Oh,
yeah, so we receive a copy of
The Mary.
appeals from the codes office as well as appeals of our own
I
decision.
mean, yeah, state law didn't specify,
Yeah.
so it just says.
So in terms of the most,
That might be-
I'm cramping up. I drove 10 hours yesterday.
Well, why'd you stand up? Thank you.
Well,
I'll hold the microphone.
well, this way we can conclude the meeting earlier. Okay, and just as a matter of information, that the decision that was made on the Merriman application is currently in front of the Board of Appeals.
Right.
Yes, so they're gonna meet on June 10th. I have never been a part of a planning board appeal, administrative appeal, so I don't exactly know how many board members are supposed to go. Obviously, our chair that was at the chair at that meeting wasn't there. You were the vice chair.
And I
You
wasn't.
weren't, Amy was there, but now she's not. You weren't there at that meeting, but now
That's
you're
right.
here. So,
That's right. And the,
At which meeting? You
the one that we denied it,
Oh.
yeah, and the interest,
February we did that?
April 1st.
We've done two.
and the interesting thing about
February.
about an appeal from a planning board decision is that it is done what's called de novo, which means that they don't take a look at our findings and decide whether they were accurate or not. They go through the full review
As if new?
independently to
As if
determine.
new? Is that what de novo is? As if new? Like,
I don't
From
think that's
scratch.
correct.
Right.
No, they do it appellate for planning board, de novo for codes.
They do a de novo for codes too?
Just codes. They do it, so there's two different ways. You can do it de novo, which is Dan is saying, so the Board of Appeals would be looking at this application like they're the reviewers and seeing if it meets the standards of the ordinance. Or there's appellate, which is where you only appeal certain provisions that you feel like aren't met. And then the Board of Appeals just looks at a very narrow scope.
Right.
So they do planning board appellate, not de novo, because their rationale was that planning board decisions can be a lot more complex and involve a little more expertise. And so they wanted to just do it.
Oh,
You're
okay.
looking at me like I'm saying it wrong. Let me double check.
Yeah, okay. But they are reviewing our decision, and then we'll hear back what their decision is.
I'm assuming they will get all the information we had, including our consulting Amy Chow, the
Well, they-
town
yeah.
lawyer on that, right?
They
Because they
will,
have their
they
own
will get
lawyer.
they will get the full file, including the minutes of the
All right.
meeting
Good,
where the decision was made.
okay.
Well, there isn't any minutes of the meeting because there aren't any yet, but that's all right.
There's a recording.
There's a recording.
A recording?
And there's a
Okay.
notice of decision.
Okay. All right. Any other announcements? Hearing,
Lori's still here the whole time.
Oh, I brought paper copies of the shoreline zoning training that Courtney and Debbie went to.
Yes.
It
And
was
if-
actually really interesting.
It was very
Does anybody want a
helpful.
paper copy?
Oh, yeah, I do.
okay.
The biggest
Come on down.
thing I came away with
Okay.
was don't.
And
be
one
afraid
thing
to
that
say
we,
no.
I'll take one.
They were,
since we have a number of new members of the planning board, we really should schedule a workshop
Yeah.
just to kind of get to know each other a little bit and talk about the kinds of things that we talk about, to get an idea of how things work.
Do we want to, usually it's the first Wednesday of the month.
You're looking to
That's
schedule
the
it.
third.
Let's see, that would be,
It is appellate for planning board,
Okay.
not de novo.
okay. So that would be
The third.
The
on
third.
June 3rd.
I'm in New Zealand.
Hmm?
Sorry. I'm in New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, you know what? It's really important that you be there. Why don't,
In New Zealand, yeah.
That's cool.
and the 1st of,
1st of July, I'm not here.
you're not here the 1st of July, okay.
What about the 24th of June?
No, I'm gone.
Are you back?
It is summer.
It is.
So the third is out, June 3rd is out?
Yeah.
June 3rd is out. We're looking
I
at the,
think really we want especially, right?
How long are you in New Zealand, Lori?
I'll be back on June 8th, so I think.
oh, okay.
I mean, can we have something maybe shortish, like a half an hour before the
Well,
planning board meeting, since that's a Wednesday, the whatever it is?
No and no.
Okay.
Conservation Commission is before planning.
But we couldn't meet in
And
the
I think
conference
the
room.
June meeting is pretty stacked, so I don't
Okay.
think we're gonna wanna make
Okay.
it any longer than it already is.
Okay, well then let's figure on the June 24.
Debbie can't
I
come.
can't.
Oh, you can't come on
I
the
leave the
24th?
What about the 10th? The 10th.
Board of Appeals. We could do it before Board of Appeals,
When is, well,
6:30.
I would
What are we
have-
looking at?
June 10th.
Thank you, June 10th.
okay. It would have to be after 5 o'clock,
Oh,
because I have library board on the 10th.
Can we do it at
How about a different day?
yeah, we can meet over there.
work, so.
Till what time, though? Can you be here at 6?
What?
Fisheries at 5 on
Oh, thank you. But we can meet in the living room, too.
Yeah.
Where are we for a date now? What's the date?
Are
that
we,
we're-
are we coming close on anything?
Why
don't
don't
know
I just
what
send
date it
out
is, so-
I'll just send out a doodle poll,
Good, that's
Okay.
better.
since
Thank
this
you.
is not easy.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know what
Not
our
this
last
time of
date
year.
we were talking about was. What was it?
All right, so I just
Okay.
leave this here.
Yes.
June 10th.
And
Wait,
then-
will you do it?
Hmm?
Are we adjourned?
Well, I was waiting to make
Oh.
sure there was nothing else.
Okay, sorry.
No other business?
My bad.
If there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Right.
All right.